So let's go ahead and see how this deck plays. We're going to play test this. I'm going to cut this so you all know it's completely random, but what is never random is going to be our opening hand. Our opening hand is an Exotic Orchard, a Soul Ring, Command Tower. We've got Coachgonzalezprofessional here so that we can create zombies, Priest of the Crossing for counters, Crypt Breaker to draw cards and zombies, and then we can draw cards off of the Graveborn Muse as well. Let's imagine that somebody has passed us the turn. We're going to go ahead and draw into a swamp, conveniently enough. Let's just go ahead and play this swamp for turn. We'll tap this, get our Soul Ring onto the battlefield, and then pass the turn. We'll draw here into an irrigated farmland, a land that would enter the battlefield tap. We'll go ahead and add that into our hand, playing our Command Tower, tapping 4 so that we can play our Graveborn Muse, which is going to allow us to draw a card for each zombie we control on the battlefield during our upkeep. And we will lose a life as well. Go ahead and pass a turn, drawing into a Fetid Pools, which is another land. We'll have that enter our hand. Both these lands enter tapped, which is slightly unfortunate in this situation. We were supposed to draw a card and lose a life off of the Graveborn Muse. We will draw into the Grey Merchant of Asphodel, or as people like to call Gary. So Gary is going to go ahead and enter our hand. How about we use as much mana as we can as possible? Let's get the Exotic Orchard onto the battlefield. We will tap 5, play our Ghoul Caller Gisa, so that we have the ability to sacrifice creatures at some point in the future. We'll go ahead and pass a turn here, remembering to draw a card and lose a life off of the Graveborn Muse, which is a God Eternal Oketra, which is fantastic. And then we're going to draw for turn into a Talisman of Dominance. So I think looking at what we have here, no matter which land we play, they're going to enter the battlefield tapped this turn. So let's just have this Fetid Pools enter tapped, and then I think we just need to get God Eternal Oketra on the battlefield right now because God Eternal Oketra is just fantastic. When we cast a creature spell, we're going to be able to create a 4/4 black zombie war creature token with Vigilance. Then we will go ahead and pass the turn, untapping and drawing into a Meat Hook Massacre 2, which would be great if we drew into a Grave Pact. Looking at our hand, we have one land. Let's get that land onto the battlefield, and then we will go ahead and remember to draw the extra 2 cards because we do control 2 zombies on the battlefield. Plains and a Wayward Servant, have these enter the battlefield. Let's just act like we did that correctly the first time. We'll go ahead and put this farmland back into our hand and play the Plains for turn so we do have the extra mana to use. How about we start going for the offensive plays here? What we can do is we can tap 5. Let's get Temet into play. That is a creature spell, so we are going to create a zombie warrior over here. And then actually, let's do this differently. Let's tap the 2 mana. We'll play the Wayward Servant first, right? Which is going to create that zombie warrior token. And then each opponent's going to lose a life and we're going to gain a life. And then we cast Temet. And because we cast Temet afterwards, we're going to create a second zombie warrior. And then our opponent's going to each lose a life, and then we're going to gain a life 2 more times. Going to combat, we can attack with our double striking God Eternal Oketra, and I think we would just keep the attacks as that because I think we want to keep everything else. We would then draw because we attacked with Temet, and then we draw into a Desert of the True. I'm just going to put this directly into the graveyard right now, and then we could go ahead and pass the turn. As we do that, we're gonna notice that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 zombies on the battlefield. So we're gonna draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards, buffing our zombies by +6 with Temet, and then we draw a card for turn. So all of our zombies right now get +7/+0. Looking at the cards that we drew, we have an Underground River, Vengeful Dead, on Wings of Gold, Plague Belcher, Dusk, Viscera Seer, and an island. I already know what we're going to be playing right now. I'm just going to drop all these cards into our hand. Let's go ahead and, did I have a land over here? Let's get a land into play. And then we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, and then let's say 4 mana. Get our On Wings of Gold, which is gonna give all of our zombies and our zombie tokens flying. So right now, everything minus Ghoulcaller Gisa has flying right now, which is fantastic. And if I have a method of drawing cards right now, I would, but I do not. So how about we look at the amount of mana we have left, and how about we pay a black mana to get our Crypt Breaker on the battlefield, which is going to create us another zombie warrior. So we're gonna go like this, because these are the ones that are +7/+0 right now. On Wings of Gold also gives all our zombies +1/+1 as well. So each of these are technically +8 minus this one. This one is just +1, forcing our opponents to lose a life. Then we gain a life off of the Crypt Breaker, as well as lose a life and gain a life off of this warrior. And then let's move to combat. Let's attack with everything. As we attack with everything, what we're gonna end up doing is drawing a card. We'll draw into the island. I'm just gonna put this island into the graveyard. That's gonna make our creatures +9/+0, at least these creatures over here. So we basically just knocked somebody out of the game, and God Eternal Ketra has double strike. So that's a ton of damage right there. And then on top of all of that, what we could do is we could pay a black, and we could tap the Ghoulcaller Gisa to sacrifice one of these zombie warrior tokens so that we have just one of them, which is gonna put 13 zombies on the battlefield, which is gonna trigger the Wayward Servant 13 times. And you all are getting the idea of how this commander deck is playing right now. Just draining our opponents, creating zombies, making them flying, drawing. Dude, Graveborn Muse is awesome inside this deck. You guys really got to get this card. And yeah, that was a fantastic little playtest over here. I think that was pretty successful. I think when I go ahead and use this deck against my friends, I can learn a lot more, because things aren't going to be as free as what they are over here. But playtesting is still an interesting way to learn how the deck plays and to make changes or not. But I thought that went pretty well. Okay, if you're not already subscribed, please remember to subscribe to the channel. About 90% of the people that watch the videos on this channel are not subscribed, and the majority of those people are returning viewers. So they're watching multiple videos and just simply not subscribing. So please take this opportunity to subscribe, to show me support, because, you know, the reality is that I take my time to make these videos, mostly because you guys bring a lot of positivity into my life. I mean, I go on my phone all the time and I read your comments, and you guys actually have me bursting out loud laughing reading your comments, and I genuinely appreciate that. You guys bring a lot of positivity in my life, which is why I spend the money on buying these precons and making these videos. So a really quick way to help me so that I can have more money to buy more cards to make more videos like this would be to subscribe, because that's the biggest thing for YouTube right now. So, and a huge shout out to Card Trader for giving me the cards to even make this video in the first place. Okay, whenever I end these videos, I always say the same thing. Always remember, eat healthy. Okay, work out every single day, even if it's just for 5 minutes. And most importantly, everybody, you got to remember to believe in yourself. All right, peace out, people. See you next time.